down to that qualification spot into the top 13. That is as stacked as the race at the top of the leaderboard. So we'll have our eyes peeled on both the top and those qualification spots throughout the day. But Curve and Veno, when I was kind of looking at some of those stats, there are the top 5 players in damage. Curve and Veno are 2 of those 5 players. Both of these guys are firing all cylinders, and this is when we were going into the heat sponsor. I was talking about the makeup of this team. Obviously, the accolades aren't there on Curve, but it reminds me so much of that Queasy and Veno duo that dominated EU for so long.
Yeah, I can definitely see it. And, you know, we called it out at several different points last time. Game 1, Curve and Veno's, you know, ability to ambush multiple teams at different vending machines was honestly commendable. And then we tune in like game 3 or 4, and they have like 7 elims in the early game. So clearly they have figured that part out. And if today it's all end games with Veno and Curve, I mean, all they've been doing all season long is practicing psychoing for height and dominating, right? And hey, this is the 3rd time now Veno basically makes an end game, 2 of which he went for high ground. So he's showing us if he's got a shot at it, they're gonna take it.
Seen so many teams really kind of emerge and their game plan set in stone. It's quick off-spawn fights really proved to kind of be the difference maker. Taking Mafia against Jack and NPen already. One elimination being cleaned up by NPen. Mafia is going to be the one going down, but they kind of switch up their drop spot a little bit. It's not too far away from the split drop towards the left, but they're actually full committing to the south side of Frigid Fortress this time around. Not sure if it's a bus path change or an overall game plan adjustment, but for Jack and NPen, that might be the difference maker, but you got to be careful because you got Minish on the other side, you got Osin and Scare on the north side, so it's not going to be as free as it seems.
There's a lot going on here. Definitely, they're kind of in the mix here. Now, they do have, like you said, that early elim here, so it's a single player left in the duo. They're just hiding out, trying to buy his time here. Seems like he finally finds an opportunity to jump back in the mix. Jack has to come to the rescue. And we get a way in. There it is, but oh my gosh! What a shot by the Tick here. And this is what, you know, this is what happens at the highest level of play, right, Jacob? Like, anything can happen. Pros do have their moments where they end up clutching up, and although he does get full finished here, it doesn't matter. NPen is now in a much worse position.
Yeah, NPen is just hoping that Osid and Scare get bored. They don't look for him, and you can kind of see in the feed that NPen did not get eliminated. But in comes Dragon and Creon. This might be a blessing for NPen to try to get out. He does have the zip line, though, leaves you open to take a shot. Creon Dragon not slowing down. Big shot onto Osid, gonna push him back into the box. They have to try to find a way out. Creon's there on the other side. They even get the roof. Dragon with full aggression on this fight against Osin and Scare. They already get the first knock. Creon with the other angle. They get a full-on wipe.
They played that perfect. That weakened wall there while Dragon distracted from the high ground and then takes it at the prime time there. The timing just couldn't have been best pickaxe out. Just not much you could do here. Meanwhile, Falcons, Peterbot and Boyo back at it. This time onto Chris and Drew. We've seen this fight happen before. The last time Chris and Drew were left almost in shambles, chased across a big section of the map, and it seemed pretty similar when the zone was kind of keeping Squibbly in play. They essentially went for the battle.
Boyo early on are willing to take some of these risks. We can say Peterbot takes a big shot, forced to back up. They didn't necessarily win the trades here when it comes to Surge. They're going to have to go back on over to Squibbly, where in essence they do have almost infinite heals that do spawn up over towards that rift. Riptides, we saw threats in Fear win the fight in that last game. Fear almost going down. You can see it kind of led into them being affected by Storm Surge, but Mako and Blanks, a team that qualified out of Frigid Fortress with a victory royale, and just changing up their drop spot here again today. And that's sometimes what you have to do. From day 1 to day 2, you hit the VODs, you figure out what changes you can make.
Threats and Veer were successful in the last game. This time, Threats is left to play this one out by himself, at least here at the start. Once again, though, Jake, I'm looking at that overall player count, 78 remaining, so it seems like the early day jitters are out the window here now. You're back to Curve and Veno playing similar to the last time. It made sense why there was that big wooden base. It's just the early game strategy. Committing here to play for a Surge Tower.
Where he's going to give up on the Curve right now. You know, Curve is kind of, I wouldn't say the mastermind by any means, but he's the main guy, the main source of their early game damage. Trying to get Surge. You see them breaking open the tops up buildings.
Smart.
That way nobody can safely lurk nearby. And I think that's one thing for certain, because we saw Veno try to make that attempt in that last game, lurk back towards the Surge base that was momentarily stolen. And I almost wonder if that's why. You see a lot of these Surge bases, Monster, Metal, Brick. Veno and Curve, for the most part, they build it in wood.
Yeah, they know it's temporary. They don't want to attract too much attention. And maybe when it's wood, it kind of signals to other people, no one's going to be based up in wood. It's all part of the strategy. Mind games at play here, HQ here. So Solo now back to the lobby there. Get a little update here with Cold and Rapid.
For threats going down, though, and Veer, that's a huge loss. You know, coming into this game alone, they're in 11th place. They're 20 points ahead of the line, 13th place for that Summit land spot. All including this one for Cold and Rapid, just kind of business as usual. Set up center map over at Dark Dominion. Cold was able to get the Mythic Chaos Reloader, and you can see all the sorts of goodies that they have. Multiple pizzas, medkits. So they can honestly stay here just like they normally do, rotate late, and just kind of pad that surge stat.
Yeah, at least 4 or so games yesterday. I think whenever we tuned in, essentially, they had a Mythic Shotgun or AR. Had a fair amount of success and a little bit of luck. Finding their kind of loadout situation. Bolt and Acorn in a fight against Electro. It's a bit of a messy one. You see other teams putting their influence into the mix here. Throwing their ammo into the bucket, if you will. Electro manages to sneak out the side, though. Turn things around, puts himself in between those firing shots.
Was prepared for this with Acorn, but for Electro and Ulk, they don't want to overstay their welcome here. Shockwave outside of range for Acorn and Bolt, so they end up in the range of Bolt and Matt. Also been performing well so far on day number 1. It looks like Electro and Ulk are looking to get aggressive here, maybe for some early surge or eliminations, depending on what they're looking for. Overall, if they want to try to fly up that leaderboard. But there are 4 teams directly in this location. Acorn and Bolt all the way towards the north, and a couple of teams stacked up in between. Electro and Ulk got all of that information through the past couple of shockwaves, and I do think they're making the right decision. Focus on getting into zone instead of staying on a stacked edge. Especially for their loadouts. Yeah, they don't have nothing.
A couple of fished up floppers already. They're going to have to get their material count back. But you saw there, Cold, they thought they were spotted out. That's why they based up almost defensively out the gate, which gave Electro the signal. Like, yo, wait a second. These dudes are hiding from us. Like, maybe we should take this fight. Things ease out, though. Peterbot Boya back at it right now, finding CDZ and Raven here. It's like the worst nightmare for CDZ and Raven. You know, we gave them a lot of grace yesterday as we watched them continue to improve game to game, but whatever they're doing right now, they're ending up in the warpath with Peterbot and Pollo. I don't like it, and I'm sure they don't either.
Hey, they almost got down onto Pollo. That's maybe a non-factor. He does clean up that elimination. It almost makes me wonder, CDZ and Raven rotated in towards Swibbly in that last game. They did not fight Peterbot and Pollo, so they're going to be here. They're going to rotate on out. This time, a whole different plan for Pete and Pollo. They stay around Squibbly Shores. They spot out and fight for those eliminations. 8 more points for them as they continue to rise up that leaderboard. They close the gap already with game number 1. And they're already closing the gap again, depending on how many eliminations that Curve and Veno have been able to get so far. This game started with a 13-point lead between 5th and 6th place. Well, they've already cut it down to 5.
Yeah, Quicks and Pigs want to do that as well. I mean, clearly the #1 problem with their entire situation right now is that they need way more eliminations. They came into this with roughly 15 or so. If you look at all the teams inside of the top 10, they are definitely towards the bottom of the elim activity. Placement points are exceptional, though. And I mean, they even do have those 2 wins. Let's not forget that.
Champions is going to be able to channel that. They're not going to get high elimination games. They really need to start picking up consistent placements inside of the top 5 as Aegis and Ritual. Uncontested at Sandy's Trip. For the most part, this is one of those POIs we don't see very, very many teams rotate in and around. I think they know how aggressive Ritual and Aegis and how long they actually stay at this POI to protect that many machine. Get some early surge and avoid rotating around so they don't take any free damage to some of these other teams rotate late in the next couple of zones. But for Hobby and Aminish, they've already made it a priority to rotate in towards the zone. Not too far away. If you look at the minimap, those little blue arrows, yep, that's visuals, that's braids, kind of taking a page out of their playbook, elevate themselves on a mountain in the center of zone, and hopefully teams make mistakes rotating by.
Their strategy hasn't changed. I mean, even last game was not too bad. If they could have just pushed it a little bit further, they'd be sitting still inside a third, but 16th is still an end game, you know, overall. However, the big points start to really add up if we break into the top 10, closer to that top 5. Nothing Sphinx here. Don't see Sphinx. Yeah, looks like he must have been caught in some of the action here. Look, Jacob, we were talking about how fast, you know, the first like 2 zones have played out, and then from then till now, it's almost as if no one's been eliminated. We're still at that 76 player mark.
Almost the feeling of some of these contested drops or the surrounding lands, a little bit of freedom, because everybody has that time limit where they have to drop, they have to get their loot, they have to mat up, they have to grab their resources. So maybe that's the little window of opportunities some of these teams are going ahead and taking for their own. Play out here. Fresh is going to be the name of the game if you're looking to make up with some of those points. We see Benno and Curve already doing it. We see Peterbot come online with doing it. In instances, we talked about some of the solo clutch impact points monster. Agers wasn't necessarily on that list, but if we would have kept the list going for these last couple of games, added on top of that, Agers did move, I believe, into the top 5 for solo clutch players.
Definitely. This is a great kind of position to start catching up. Talk about Visual and Breeds' journey, right? Look at this. The zone's pulling south, and this is actually favorable for them because they have some distance from the edge, and they can see all of these potential opportunities of teams that have to move long before them. So they have their clear pathway to success to overdrive out the process. Meanwhile, though, Clix is actually in a world of trouble. Why in the world would he end up by the Dark Dominion? We'll just have to figure that one out here in a second. But he's lost Clix in the process.
Yeah,
for Higgs.
Decisions, yeah. Big part of their game plan here, and you can see it almost looks like they might have been rotating underneath. Not sure why Rapid and Cold would be down there, but you can see why they were getting aggressive. They're rate 252 above the damage threshold. Clix is actually pushing right back in. He's trying to go on the offensive. I'm not sure if this is the plan right now or just to simply try to push them back for the free reboot card. Either way, a brave play coming out from Clix, probably knowing that Cold was weak. A lot of HP missing, and he's actually going to be able to steal away a pizza out of the hands of Cold and Rapid. It's just a matter of Cold and Rapid rotating out. Clix probably checking to make sure, and now everybody is out of Dark Dominion. So even though in this moment, Monster, it looks like disaster strikes, they're going to have a breath of fresh air and time to breathe if he can get that reboot off.
The only thing I can think of, and we will have to go to the replays to find out, he had to have been fighting for Higgs' reboot card, right? There's no way he's just going to go challenge a team like that, right? Like, not for no reason, at least, not as a solo. So, in the end, though, it plays off. He ends up doing exactly what he needs to do, and he comes out ahead. You know, the extra pizza boxes definitely make a huge win for them, especially given that they're in the zone here, so. Peterbot Boya, though, in a bit of a standoff right now. In the half zone. Okay, this is actually perfect. 800 damage above. Material count not exactly maxed out. However, though, they have everything else going for them.
They have a team next to him. Sure, possibly force Peterbot and Boyo back, but they're going to have some time here in a moment as they drop down a whole nother layer. A 5-tick zone, and we tune into Reed right now. No Cooper in sight. Having to burn through his materials. Multiple teams looks like they spotted him out as a solo. Send some fire his way, trying to put down pressure with his own. Max pulls yet again away from Reed. Just got to see if he's going to actually try to go for the revive here with very little materials or play it out the solo. I think he has no other choice but to play this one out as a solo. But it's not enough time to get the revive. Both of them will end up going down. So Reed, a lot of pressure on your shoulders here to finish this game.
Pressure on Bolt and Acorn as well here. Below this surge, we were highlighting the fact that teams like Acorn and Bolts didn't have problems with the Storm Surge at all, at least doing damage to them. And then we come in now, and already that's not the same story here at all. Acorn, so much pressure here, doesn't even have time to go and heal. But Bolts comes in to back him up here. This is on the paper. This is really going to come down to whether or not Bolts can buy his teammate a little bit of time. He's done it so far. He finds paper there and Vapor goes rolling away off to the side. Resi now in a one-on-one against Acorn. Acorn, you gotta fend for yourself, son. This is gonna be tough. Resi's trying to hold it down. Acorn, though, the big Acorn is here, and he does what he needs to do to stay in the game. But no, Bolts have to leave him. Oh my gosh.
I can't believe that series of events. Acorn and Bolts forced to fight. They shockwave away. Bolts tries to make a heroic play, but just gets cut a little too short. This game right here, in terms of a leaderboard monster, they are going to feel for sure. Outside of Elim, those are the only points they got. See possibly going down around 29th, 30th place. No points for that effort. Peterbot and Pollo, though, surviving a little bit of an onslaught, not only able to get eliminations, but a little bit of a cleanup, some extra loot for them to work with. And it's just something I think Cold and Rapid need. We saw them getting chased by Clicks underneath, trying to get revenge for Higgs. And you can see what that has done to their position in this game. Barely 3 above the damage threshold. Cold with a huge chunk of shield missing. It's put them so far back.
I'm just thinking, like, Cold and Rapid have a chance to break so far ahead of the competition. It's going to be a huge problem for the rest of the line right now, if they have a big end game right here. No one's played perfect, though.
I feel for him here, just taking damage from Storm, taking damage from Storm Surge. No extra HP. He's 93 below. It's deactivated for a moment. And oh my, that's the only moment he needs. Literally, if it was still actually active, Monster, he would have been taken down for sure. But Reed making a play. 4 more points in this game. 2 teams need to go down, and he's going to start getting rewarded with placement points.
Hey, man, he's back like he never left right here. It's got 2 big pots as well to bounce back in the game. Pressure on Braids and Visuals from the side here. These are his walls, too. He can get in and make some pretty dirty plays here. But claw your way out of the grave for a second. Visuals and Braids, though. Look at what happened here just shortly before the end of elimination. They're an important one as well. At 3 HP, the Siphon is what's going to keep them in the game, remaining competitive. I saw that while we were hopping around, Clicks actually eliminated 2. So we have some pretty big top 10 teams now fully out the game. This is going to shake up everything as we know it. Escape below, though. Visuals, Braids get a little moment to breathe, but it's not going to last very long.
See, Braids had some extra shield, allowing him to take the tick, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to find the damage, especially in a zone like this. Curve and Veno, we saw Shockwave from the backside of zone to contest the high ground. Nobody's really making themselves known as the team above the rest. They're not necessarily ready for it. 8 zone, sometimes we say it's a little bit too early, and I think everybody has that same sense in the back of their mind. Saving the material, saving the Shockwaves, make a play for it maybe in the next couple of zones, but for now, Aegis and Ritual, looking at what's in front of them. That's Slepsy, that's Wages, putting down damage, trying to spray through the box. A couple of those are going to connect, but not enough to give them the green light to go.
Yeah, there's one thing about the way Clicks and Higgs played. They played these single towers and not really overcommit with the tarps. And I would love to see teams do that because high ground is completely free right now. Even Rituals and Ages are looking up like, wait a second, bro. No one's up here, and you saw him kind of break off for it. Braids on the other side, though, just popping off right here. Playing the edge of zone, gets a little Siphon going. And now, look, you look up, Aegis finally secures it. Peterbot Boyo come in. They were just waiting for someone to build the foundation. And now they come in to try to take the investment away from them, and it actually works off.
Yeah, massive damage onto Aegis, onto Ritual, forcing them away, but you still got to be careful for Curve and Veno, full HP, front side of zone. Aegis gets left by himself. Talk about him moving possibly to the top 5 in terms of solo impact points in this game, and this is another chance for him to do just that. There's a bunch of points in terms of placement still left on the board. 4 points per elimination if you can clean those up, but you have to watch out because Peterbot and Boyo, not only they have the high ground, they notice that second height, put down a little bit of pressure, forcing them down a whole nother layer, and then set their focus onto 20 and Neko as well. They're building up step by step, taking a lot of the focus from Peterbot and Poyo.
Cold and Rapid may not have won a game this weekend, but they've been playing low ground very well. But look at this. As I'm about to celebrate their key positioning, they get rolled up on from behind. Meanwhile, Curve, Veno, doing the same thing they did before, play deep side of Storm, come bouncing way on in with the Flowberry miss.
Possible, especially with the tough competition out of the lobby as Brilliant takes out Cold. Their run has come to an end. Vivid was talking about if they can repeat that same game, they can close the gap. But now with first, second, and third place out of your way, this is an opportunity to do it. But Peterbot by himself, 6 HP and a dream. Finds a little crevice there to hold on to down below. Not able to get the elimination, though. He gets taken out. Top 6 situation. 3 solos running around. 3 duos still intact. Venno and Curve are still up above, raining down fire. Not really giving anybody a chance to breathe and think outside of the box, which is Forts and Seek to take this Storm damage. It's his only play here to try to get some extra placement points.
Look what we're seeing right now. Venno coming down here. No material, just forced to play chest to chest here while Curve's got eyes from the top down. Here comes the mist. Just give them a little bit of a relief here, but Tyler comes up, goes for the pop shot, doesn't quite hit it, and Tyler's got enough mats to actually do work here. Jacob, this is not a safe endgame by any means. It really is going to come down to whether or not Tyler wants to contest them on height or jump down low for some elimination points.
Yeah, it's not just the build that I'm looking at. It's that mythic Chaos Reloader that can turn the tides of fights in the blink of an eye. But he's getting pushed by the solo down below. Seek, he gets the elimination. Siphon getting up to 200 effective shield and HP. More builds to work with. But up above, Curve and Venno, they're refusing to drop down low. They're refusing to give him a chance. So Tyler has no choice but to go up above. Big shot on the Curve. Tyler is trying to make dreams come true. He lands another shot on the Venno down below, trying to deny the back-to-back. Tyler, he just needs the one chance, but he is already down. He's by himself. 1v1. Zone is closing. 3 HP.